Hi everyone, welcome to Lena's Home Creations, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how I transformed some old newspaper into this beautiful basket by rolling up some newspaper sheets. Now I did use about 80 sheets of these newspapers, and I will be rolling these using my trusty metal barbecue skewer. So there isn't really any wrong way or right way of rolling your newspaper up. Just find the most comfortable position and start rolling. And what you're going to be doing as you roll the paper, you're going to be pulling at the skewer so everything is nice and tight. And then when you get to the end of the rolled up paper, the very end, the very tip, the corner end, you're just going to dab a little bit of white glue using a brush, or you can use the end of your finger to make sure that's nicely tight and secure. So carry on, sit back, watch, and you'll see how I make about 80 of these. So it's very time consuming, so I suggest you grab yourself a coffee and watch something on Netflix while you're doing this process. So for the purpose of not boring you guys to death, I'm just going to speed up the video of me rolling out all these newspapers. And as I'm doing that, you can actually see that I'm pulling the skewer down, and it just tightens up that tube, which makes it a lot nicer when you roll up the next stage of this craft. So I finally reached the end of rolling up at least 80, maybe I did 85. I did a few extra because I'm going to be using that for something else in this craft. But here's my 85 odd tubes that I rolled up, and I'm just flattening these here. I started doing this and then I thought to myself, no, actually I'm going to be using my rolling pin, where this is going to help with the process and speed things up. So I went and got my trusty wooden roll pin. So if you have one to hand, I suggest that you go and grab this, and this is going to help you flatten the newspaper tubes, and it's also going to help you bind the rings together. It's going to keep it in place, and it's also going to make sure that the circles, the rings, are all even and one size, because we do need them to be similar to the same size as possible. So you're going to repeat this process and obviously do about 80 of these. And as you can see, I'm actually applying some white glue. The reason I'm using white glue instead of the glue gun is because the white glue will be quite strong and it won't be bumpy. I want it to be a smooth finish, and I don't want to see a lot of hot glue on there. So it is a little bit time consuming, but the results and the finish come out a lot nicer. And then once again, I'm going to be speeding through this process as I'm doing about 80 of these. So we're finally at the end of making 80 solid rings out of newspaper, and next will be to join them together. I started joining them with the white glue, but that just took too long to dry. So for this bit, as you're not going to see it, I am actually going to be gluing 2 rings together and making sure that they're the same height as well, so they're a little bit more even, the consistency is the same. So I'm just matching them up and making sure everything's fine, and I'm just going to get my hot glue gun and glue down 2 rings together.
Pages, a lot of pages to forget. I'm so bored to say. Call me if you need a hand. Did you ever think I'm a friend? Everything will come to an end. It's so complicated to let go. I've come to know the hardest words to understand. Life's so easy to pretend, but everything will last for a night. The rage has come. I felt so young and never called the name you wore. From ash to glow, I fall in love. Every day I try to find things in a new set, but late at night I look for those I will never get. Symptoms of my sickness always fade and come back. I wonder how we could have met. Everyone is telling me it's late to complain, 'cause now the games are over, I must reckon with pain. Cages, a lot of cages to subside, it's so vain to say. The hardest words to understand. Life's so easy to pretend, but everything will last for a night. The rage has come. I felt so young and never called the name you wore. From ash to glow, I fall in love. Distance, we've got distance to blame. Anytime it blows your mind, distances can put on a flame. Loving God that's far, we better keep it.
So once I finish gluing all the rings together, next step will be with some of the leftover tubes. I'm going to cut the ends, which are a little bit more thinner, and I'm going to place some hot glue and just wrap it like a loop around the 2 rings. And the reason I'm doing this is more for effect, because I will be later on going in with some twine to tie everything together, tie all the loops, and again it's for effect and to make the whole basket more sturdy. Again, I'll be speeding through some of the process here as it takes too long to watch.
I fall in love. I fall in love.
So this is the last stage of the basket that I'm making. So I've wrap some newspaper into little loops around the 2 rings, and this is more to give it a bit more stability and also for effect once we put our basket together. So the next stage, I cut the backing of a picture frame, so it's made of MDF wood to give it some stability for the base, and I'm just going around gluing 2 rings at a time, and as you can see I'm putting glue on either side and at the bottom of the rings, and you just keep going round in a pattern until you reach the first circle, and then you repeat that to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I think you're going to have about 5 rings on top of each other to create a basket of the diameter of 34 centimeters and the circumference of 110 centimeters and the height will be 34 centimeters. So in total you should have about 80 rings for your basket. So it's quite a large basket that we're doing here. So once you've glued down all your rings, you're going back in to create some more newspaper loops between some of the rings. You don't have to do this, you can skip this process, but this will just enforce the strength of your basket. And once I completed this, I just did a few, I didn't do all of them. I just created like a pattern, and then I went over with some twine, and again that was very time consuming, but you can skip this option or you can just wrap the whole thing in twine. It's entirely up to you, but if you carry on watching the video it will be all explained. So the fact that we used hot glue to glue some of the pieces in place, it leaves these little stringy strands of hot glue, so I'm just going in there and tidying everything up, getting rid of the little strands or any bit of the newspaper that's sticking up, and this will just make the whole project very neat and tidy. So for where some of the rings haven't got loops, this is what I'm going to bind together with some twine or some string, and it'll just give it effect to the basket. It'll make it look more authentic, and it will increase the durability of this basket, and it'll just reinforce everything, and it will bring everything together for the finished look. So this is how my basket looked after I wrapped twine around there, and you can see some burnt edges where I burnt off some of the whispery ends from the twine, and I had pink, red, it's all the colors that I had to hand, but it doesn't matter as I'm using a white primer to prime my basket before I do the next stage, which is going to be some painting. So I literally just gave it one coat of primer, which was enough. Didn't really need to use all that paint, as I will be painting this black, as you can see here, and that's just one coat of chalk paint in black. It's like a charcoal black, and once that was completely dry, I'm going in with the Rust-Oleum white wax, and I'm just going to dry brush that onto my basket, which will make the whole thing look like a stony, driftwoody type effect, and that's the look that I'm going for. So as you can see, I'm just brushing that on quite lightly, and it's very soothing, and the sun is very hot outside, so this will dry in no time. And here's the finished result. I just tied some wooden hearts to it, and I put an insert into there. You could actually make yourself a drop cloth insert for the basket. I just had that to hand, so it saved me actually making one. But if I do get bored with that one, I can always just pop that out and actually make an insert for my basket. And this is how it turns out. I'm really super happy with it. So why don't you guys give this a go and recycle some newspapers? So once again, thanks for watching Lena's Home Creations. I hope to see you again next week for another inspirational video with Lena's Home Creation. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks, bye.